As it will now transmit the new minimum wage draft bill to the National Assembly come January the 23rd. I have a public affairs analyst, Dr. Ekiyor, joining me via Skype to discuss the rally that held across the country all of yesterday. Thanks for joining us on the news.
Thank you and good morning. Happy New
Yes, so,
Year.
well, it took the rally across the country by Labour to get government to actually fix a date to transmit the draft minimum wage bill.
Yeah, I was wondering myself because I thought that government should be more proactive with dealing with the issues of labor, because labor is the fulcrum on which government writes its agenda. So for government to undermine labor, having agreed in the previous discussion to carry out this action was like playing with a time bomb. Labor can actually even truncate the 2019 election process because you need labor to get things to drive. I'm particularly concerned that the issues which labor have raised are germane and are things that government should be able to deal with. Living standard in Nigeria, it's very expensive. You don't expect a man with a family, say a wife and three children, to live on a minimum wage of 18,000 a month and then not be corrupt as well. Because these people are not well paid. They'll find ways and means to make extra money in the institution, the establishment. And so corruption that the government is trying to fight is riding on the wings of poor pay and poor living standards of workers. So workers are able to conspire with politicians to be able to access money so they can get kickbacks. Government needs to pay, and I believe that the federal government of Nigeria has the capacity to pay. On my own, I try to think about the energy coming from the Nigeria Delta. If a percentage of that is dedicated to wages and remuneration for hard work, we may just be able to reduce the people who are willing to be conspirators in corruption and government looting. I think that the Minister of Labor, the President and the National Assembly should expedite action on this and put smile on the workers' face.
Would you say then that it is Uhuru with the planned transmission of the new minimum wage bill, considering the reality on the ground that so many states were not able to pay 18,000 naira, and they have insisted, as the governors, that 30,000 naira is almost unrealizable for them. So would it be back to the trenches in the event that 30,000 naira is not realized, because Labour is insisting on 30,000 naira minimum wage?
Yeah, there are global standards for minimum pay. In some countries, you have people saying $10 per hour, maybe €5 per hour. And I think that should be applicable in our country. A national law that says if you put in X number of hours, this is what you must earn at the end of 30 days. It's something that should be overridden, even for the private sector. I don't see why state governments can't pay 30,000. It's either they are rather overemployed and they have a workforce that they don't need, or they refuse to industrialize. Because I ask the question, why do you need 150, 500, 600, 800 workers in a local government council? What are they doing? You should industrialize. We should go agro. So more people are in the private sector, fewer people in government, and they are well paid. What has happened is that almost everybody, 1/3 of the population is working in the government doing nothing, and they have to be paid. And government is still employing. Government should divest, create industries, let more people look for jobs in the private sector. Most private sectors pay that minimum wage or even more. Some cleaners in 25 in some private places. So I think that the state governments need to prioritize their spending and expenditure. If you don't pay your workers well, you don't get the best out of them. Governance become more expensive. And then government can cut corners from all the excesses that they spend, travels, in allowances, in wasteful contracts, and focus on things that will bring value. But minimum wage of 30,000 is an average earning of 1,000 naira a day. That can cook a pot of soup for a family. So how do these workers actually live? It's by ways and means that are not truly also very correct. Because they now find ways and means to cut corners in government, to make extra money, create invoices that are not there, collect money that are not there. But when they are well paid, it may just reduce the amount of corruption in governance and ease governance. And I think that is not an excuse for any state government not to. Some are building airports, some are traveling, some have essays, so many that they don't need just to satisfy political desire. So these monies can be appropriated into salaries, and then workers made to work.
Yeah, of course, it's an election year right around the corner. In a number of weeks, the general elections will be here. Do you think with the rallies yesterday that Labour has been able to prove a point that no government at any level can actually take workers for granted? Has that point been made very strongly and emphatically?
I think that any government that thinks that wants to take labor for granted is digging its own grave, because labor can shut down the country if they are united, and we not want to have an election. So because labor is all about everything, even those who transport the electoral materials are part of labor. So if the materials don't move, there'll be no election. Those who will be adult staff are part of labor. So I think that not only transmitting to the National Assembly, they should find a way to get it passed. I mean, as an express bill that will put sucker on the faces and smile so that we can have a successful transition here, and then move on to do proper governance. Labor all over the world is a force to be reckoned with.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Chris Ekiyor there, speaking to us about the rallies, the Labour rallies all across the country yesterday. Thank you for your time on the news.